Yeah, hey everyone, and welcome to another Planet Zoo video. Yeah, the hype is real. The hype is really real. And today I want to look into the screenshots that have been released together with the gameplay reveal on the E3 yesterday evening. I just took my time to make a enjoyable video for you guys rather than just stressing the whole thing out now. I think there was enough stressing yesterday, so let's have a really in detail look in this video into the screenshots, plus me giving you some additional information regarding everything I know from the Frontier studio office visit we had 2 weeks ago. If you want to know more about that, there is a dedicated video where we also talk about only the exclusive infos we got from the office. If you want to check that out, I'll put a little note in here so you can check that out. Anyways, let's talk about this video in this screenshot in particular. We start off with the boring thing here, which is the elephants, because you clearly know them already. But however, there are a few very interesting bits in here. So first one being this pole over here to the right or left hand side from the elephants, if you will, but to the right hand side on our screen. This pole seems to be either piece by piece or an enrichment element, because you can clearly see there is this little bit of a line in between, so it seems to be two poles stick to each other. I don't know, might be a thing. However, another interesting bit about this one is this fence back here. And why is that interesting? Well, for once, because it seems that there is another elephant just in another enclosure. For whatever reason, we don't know, but I can tell you why. This might well be because of the families and how you need to grow animals. So, for example, you can't just let all the animals in one enclosure and hope that they'll get babies, because you definitely want to prevent the same family members from getting babies in their own family again, because that's something you don't want to have. This will make babies, well, I should put it that way, less good, because obviously, yes, in the real world it will make them kind of unhealthy, but this is the same in Planet Zoo, so you will make sure that you will have the male, for example, in another enclosure than the females, or just make sure that you swap the different family members so that you get new kind of families out of them. So that might be the reason why this elephant is fenced off from here. So maybe this is the male who has been kind of the brother of this one over here, for this female elephant, and this is only her with the new elephant friend. Sorry, I needed to sneeze, and this is why I needed to stop that, and the music is running with me this time, so you might have encountered a little break over here. Yeah, then there's one third interesting bit in here, and this is this elephant to the left hand side. It is standing below the trees, just in the shade, and this is clearly a thing. Animals search for cover, either for sun, for rain, for snow, or whatever, maybe even for the nasty views of your guests. So animals actually do actively search for cover, which is really interesting. Anyways, let's move on to the one first, very interesting, a new animal. This is the African wild dog, I guess, if I'm not completely wrong here. Yeah, it looks totally stunning in terms of the fur, and yes, I've heard people arguing that the fur looks crap and whatnot. For whatever reason, I think the problem is they haven't seen that in-game, and from the release trailer and real trailer you can actually tell that there is a lot of animation going on in the fur in the game. And I can tell you from what I've seen, the gameplay I've really seen that has been shown to me up close, really up close, I can tell you the fur looks awesome. However, it's not the best thing for screenshots because it's actually moving, right? It's something that works together with the graphics engine, and it is moving. It looks really like fur. It's kind of a texture thing. So it's really great, I can only tell you. So please don't let you fool by these screenshots, which still look super awesome. However, there's not much more in here I can show you. So this is why we just look a little bit closer to those two guys. But yeah, just look at the detail, it's insane. I can only tell this looks super awesome. And to be honest, those ones are completely new also to us. We haven't seen them on screen yet. That's why I'm super curious as well to talk about them. However, this is the next bit over here. I like this quite a bit because, first of all, you can see the ground texture, which is obviously just a texture, but they improve the quality of the texture so dramatically, which is awesome. But the other thing I really like about this is just like, look at the face. Look at the face and how the ears, it's kind of fletching his teeth or something. So really awesome to see, like all these different animations on the animals. yeah, again, there's nothing too crazy to talk about. Also, maybe just the lighting and the overall depth of field is just insanely nice and looks super natural. It doesn't really look too crazy, whatnot. Sometimes Planet Coaster had the issue, it looked too crazy, and in this game it really seems to be nailed. But now, let's talk about my most favorite image of the new release. We have seen those badass animals in action, and I can tell you, those are freaking fast as they are in real life. And this is really cool and is also up to the challenge to kind of contain them in the way they needed to be contained. But I especially love the models of those cheetahs over here. Just have a look. It is so gorgeous. The overall, you know, the proportions of these animals, their overall, how they look and feel, their faces, and again, each individual animal has also its individual texture, so nothing will be the same like the other one. You can actually easily spot that he has got these two dots here and a bigger one here, and also a slightly other one down here on this kind of corner over here, whilst this one has a way wider open space over here. It's kind of similar, but not really similar, so you can maybe tell it might be the same family, maybe brother or sister. I'm not that crazy of an expert to spot from over here if this is even two male or two female. I guess these are two females, if I would be up to a guess, but yeah, I don't know. But there is something else in this image I wanted to point out, and this is on the top left, as you can see over here. Seems to be a facility, could be a toilet or something. But there's also like a seating area, which is a little bit different to what we know from Planet Coaster. It might be that these are kind of actual sofas or something, which would actually fit this African theme here, which would be super awesome. And another very interesting bit over here is the fence below the pathway. So as you can see, they are really trying to fence off also the water area, which is super nice because some animals can use, and this is an additional info we have from the Frontier studio visit. Animals or the enclosures can have natural borders, indeed. So if you want to, for example, fence off your chimpanzees, you could do that with the water area, for example, because they don't really like to swim, hence why they wouldn't swim across to the other side, and that would be the perfect border for them to keep them contained on an island, which you potentially see in many zoos quite often. However, other animals, for example these guys over here, they also like to swim, and also other animals that does like to swim, you can't contain them only by water. You might want to contain them, for example, by terrain. And again, not every animal can let himself obtain or contain by terrain, because for example chimpanzees, or also these guys over here, the cheetahs, they are freaking good climbers, so they will use the terrain to climb it up, and each individual animal has a different perception of an incline. So many animals can walk up to a certain degree of an incline, and every degree further they can't use. So if you build a wall, for example, that has a certain degree of an incline in it, then the animals won't use it and can't get out of there. But other ones that have a different incline level, so to say, they will be able to climb just simply out of your enclosure. So these kind of things you really have to keep in mind while building your enclosures, which is, and that I can only tell you, this is going deep into a management and also creation perspective, which is super awesome. Next up are these two giraffes, and to be honest, this is the one screenshot where the giraffes are not the most interesting in this image. There's a whole lot more going up in this image, and I want to point out that the foliage over here looks super awesome. But now, let me show you something really, really crazy, because this is something we haven't seen that much. I've seen that in the gameplay, but it hasn't been shown before. So we have, I think, 6 different types of stuff in here. So we have the mechanic. This is the mechanic. You can see this is the mechanic as well. He's got this bluish trousers here or whatnot, and the red overall with a little cap. Then we have the vendor, which is clearly a vendor because that's basically the same model as in Planet Coaster, so 1, 2. Then we do have a janitor, as you can see, and this seems to be like a zookeeper. I love these boots she has on. Super awesome, by the way. And if we move over to the, oops, that was already the next image. Oh, we are with 5 different staff members. And to the whole right, this could be maybe a security guard, or maybe it's a male zookeeper. I'm not entirely sure. But then there is something hidden in here, I can only tell you, because you won't be able to spot that. But this in here is a little facility building which is nicely hidden away, and this is a waste management element. And this means in the game you not only have to make sure that the staff is able to put off all the trash from the bins and stuff, you also have to give them the possibility to bring that away, to get rid of it. And not only this, you also have like solar panels that kind of help you to get the energy which you will need, for example, for the terrariums, which are the indoor little terrariums that are also confirmed. We haven't seen an image of it yet, but I can only tell you, keep your eyes close to the Frontier channels also on Friday's gameplay reveal, when they actually show you the playthrough of one of their scenarios. Actually, it's not a playthrough, it's just a demo, but it'll be super awesome indeed. So yeah, quite a few very interesting bits and pieces in here. Moving on to the next image, you can see actually two kinds of animals in here. This is the giraffe, and also we do have the springbok. And this also shows you that these kind of animals do live together in harmony in one enclosure, which is super awesome, because this will also help you to make max use of the space given to you while making a good space-life balance, I will say, for your animals. However, this picture is even more interesting, because you can again see this is clearly piece by piece building what we have over here. So this kind of trunk down here, then we have the wooden pillar connected to this what kind of looks like a shelter. This is simply built piece by piece. You can make whatever you want to build, and this will actually make your animals happy. Okay, I think this is something we can just skip very quickly, because again, giraffes are already shown a few times. I love the baby giraffe. Look at this. I also love how these little humps, whatever you want to call them, antennas, I have no idea how these are called with the giraffe. Please let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure there are a lot of people who know exactly how these things are called, and I will remember next time, promise. Anyways, next up is this awesome looking crocodile, which is the Saltwater Crocodile. And again, you can really see, and I pointed that out at the beginning, you can really see that the soil is pretty dry over here. And again, if you remember the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, by the way, make sure to watch the trailer, because it's awesome, and you will need to see that trailer to understand everything I'm talking about. We have the same enclosure, I guess it is, or at least a similar one, with the saltwater crocodiles whilst it's raining, and then the soil changes, which is super good. So this might be an area where we haven't had rain for a longer time, and that makes the whole soil dry out. This is also why the texture is the way it is. But let me just zoom in a bit and show you. Look at all these scales and the detail. This is just really, really, really great. But again, I love especially this area, which is kind of blurry and kind of, I don't know, weird. But since these are pure screenshots from the game, you can see how awesome the lighting model is. And I mean, if you just step back a little bit from your screen now and just look at it again, it's kind of nearly photorealistic, which is really awesome in the first glance. Anyways, moving up to the next one, which is again a much more close look of the springbok. Again, there's not too much interesting bits in here. We can have a closer look to this wonderfully designed animal again, and to the foliage especially, because the foliage seems to be really gorgeous. Another piece of glass roof over here, but this seems to be again all built piece by piece, and it kind of looks similar to the design that you have seen beforehand on the giraffe image as well. But yeah, for now that should be it. Also love how he is slightly jumping here, or she, is it a she? It looks more like a she, I guess. Or is this a he, or this is a she? I don't know. Anyways, but you can again tell from the texturing that this is not the same animal as this is over here. But again, there's another bit of enrichment piece in here. It's scratching itself on this, I think it could be a toy or some kind of, yeah, scratching machine. I don't know how you would call that, but a lot of these lovely fences again in the background. Nothing too special to point out here, yeah, except the fact how awesome this looks. But now, God, guys, this is the one image we need to spend a bit more time on, because this is a chimpanzee. I guess everyone knows it's the Western chimpanzee. But why is this image so interesting? Well, for a few reasons. Reason number one, it's dirty. And this seems to be very simple, but this is the thing. And I love that this is in, because This is something we haven't seen in Jurassic World Evolution, for example, which is, I think it's not that much needed there. But the cool bit is your animals they really get dirty, and you need to make sure that they do have clear water to clean themselves off. And if not, they really have a problem, because their fur is getting a bit more, stiffy, and, they might even get disease from that. So this is very cool. But then again, there's something more in here, which is something for climbing, right? The cool bit about that is this is built piece by piece. So that means everything you plop down from the building menu in your enclosures will be usable for the animals. They know exactly which kind of piece is there. And here comes the same thing into play, what I've just talked about a bit earlier in this video. Each individual animal has a certain rule for which kind of incline it can climb on, walk on, jump on, run on. And this pays into this whole system, as far as I've understood this, because I'm not a programmer, but I think this is how it works. If you build, for example, these kind of climbing stations here for the chimpanzees, they can basically climb everything. But if you would put that, for example, in a lion enclosure, they might be able to jump at certain things as well, but maybe on others they can't just jump because it's too steep, for example. I'm not quite sure how exactly that will work out, but they said that they have put a million tons of effort into it to make that system work. And I only can tell you, I have seen how the chimpanzees move over the piece by piece built toys, or just like climbing things in their enclosure. And guys, honestly, I like Frontier a lot, and I am super hyped for the game, but now let this be all a bit, let's move this all to the side, and let's just look at it from a person who is in general interested in a great game, and whether I would know them or not. This was the most impressive thing I've seen, because I know a little about programming. I don't know too much, but I know enough to understand how freaking complicated that must be to give the AI of the animals the information that they can climb and run on those things. And yes, you would expect, okay, it might work somehow. They get a certain rule. There is a piece. The piece is, I don't know, they know the piece with the pathfinding algorithm and then just run over it. But you would see a lot of clipping and a lot of weird movements, right? This is how you would expect it to happen. And honestly, even if that would have happened, I would have been happy with a, let's say a 80% good version at this stage. I would have been super happy, because I thought, okay, they can still improve that. But what I've seen there, it was insane. There was barely any clipping. They were using everything exactly as if this has been not piece by piece built, but pre-built with a certain programming that went into it to make sure that they have the exact right movement. And we were sitting there in this room and looking at the demo when she was playing the game, actually moving around, showing us what the chimpanzees do. And we were like, okay, well, then this is clearly no piece by piece. And then someone asked, and they were like, yeah, that's piece by piece. And everyone in this room was like shocked, because it was that good. I'm not telling you any lies here. It was that good. So it will be really crazy to see what you can do with other animals as well. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, which is another chimpanzee image, which is super cool, because two things in this image are super interesting. First of all, this is our first look to a female chimpanzee clearly in here. You can tell this from her face and the body in general. But what I love is that it seems that they are kind of cleaning themselves from these little bugs, which is super cool. I haven't seen that on the demo, to be honest, because we haven't been that close onto the animals, but even this level of detail is awesome. And if you just look at how the sun reflects and is shading in the fur, this is what you can expect. This gives the best idea of how great this looks. I think there's not too much to say about this image, because it's just awesome, but there's not more info than what I've said just before. In the last bit, again, I want to give you one more info about the animals. So yes, they can climb on piece by piece building and stuff. And now the funny part is, if you build any of these given things too close to your enclosure borders, they may well jump over it and escape your enclosure, because also these things can be used as something to climb on, which is insane. So that means you have to actually take care of not only the terrain constraints and whatnot, but also how you build scenery so that your animals cannot jump off or climb off or whatnot. And I'm pretty sure, it sounds simple, it sounds obvious, but I'm pretty sure that with this level of detail, you will see some serious issues in your designs, because you're clearly looking at what you could do and what you couldn't do. And then you just build, at least I would do this, I would just build something, and all of a sudden some animals would just roam around free in my park, and I wouldn't even know why, because I just went for the looks of it rather than for the function of it. So I was maybe placing some tower or whatnot too close to an enclosure border. So you actually have to go in and plan your design according to the level of climbing skills or jumping skills of your animals, which, yeah, is awesome. I mean, what else can I say? However, I hope you enjoyed this more relaxed, in-depth, prepared, I should say, look into these screenshots. And yeah, I'm a bit late in comparison to what everyone else has done, so I hope still a few people have watched this video. If so, and if you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. Also, if you like the stuff I do and you want to be here for the future time, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. I will try my best to entertain you whenever I can. And now I can only say, let's all be super hyped for Planet Zoo, because that's gonna be an awesome game. And also make sure, if you want to pre-order the game, by the way, it's releasing the 5th of November, but you can pre-order now, and there will be a closed beta in summer. There's no real date for it, but they only said summer, so it might be not that far away, right? Anyways, guys, have a good time. See you next time, and bye-bye.